He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
Americans have finally decided to start using the Second Amendment against ICE agents in Chicago. In the southwest side, multiple shots were fired at ICE agents as they were taking away a young woman in her 20s. An angry crowd gathered, and people demanded for her release. When ICE agents refused, of course, as they do, shots were fired at them, as is an American Second Amendment right. I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to kidnap people in an unmarked vehicle with masks on, completely unidentified, in front of an entire neighborhood of people and expect nobody to say Chicago doesn't come to play.
The government got caught on video, lying under oath, macing a 1-year-old, trying to grab an 11-year-old. So what did they do? They went to an appellate court and demanded the right to keep doing it. A federal judge ruled that the government used excessive force against moms, against clergy, against people exercising their rights. Then they defied her court order, threw tear gas anyway. Their response? Demand a stay, claim it's an emergency. ICE's lawyers argued that the Constitution is just too hard to follow.
So you've heard the news, ICE agents are quitting in droves. This is a real thing, Homeland Security can't even hide it, and some ICE agents are only still working there until they get their student loans forgiven. On top of that, when you Google ICE facility attack Texas, you'll see there was an ambush made on ICE agents because people are not only at a threshold, they are past it. But back to Adam Boyd, citing ICE is only chasing deportation quotas. When did that become apparent to you, Adam? Was it when Kristi Noem set the quota at 3,000 deportations a day?
Here's everything Trump did this week. He threatened to deploy troops in and strike Nigeria, making false claims about Christians being the only ones being killed there. He's still refusing to give out SNAP benefits for 42 million people, after first offering to fund them halfway and then delaying them indefinitely. Falsely claimed that California's election on Tuesday was rigged, sending federal agents out there to monitor the polling locations. Pardoned a Chinese spy acting as a police sergeant who was paid by the Chinese government to coerce a couple into returning to China. Said he doesn't know who the billionaire he pardoned last month is, even though he helped Trump's sons make over $2 billion in crypto. Appointed a registered sex offender to a federal housing role. This guy took advantage of a woman while she was mentally incapacitated. Blew up 2 more boats in the Caribbean without giving any evidence of wrongdoing. The total death count on these boat strikes is now up to 69 people. Ended the government's direct file tax option, even though it saved people money and had very positive reviews. Made a deal with drug companies to lower the cost of weight loss drugs, but only if you buy them out of pocket, which only 8% of the country does. Pardoned a state representative who had been found guilty of public corruption. He stole $52,000 from taxpayers by setting up a fake company. He's revoked 80,000 non-immigrant visas so far, some of which for just speaking out against Israel's government. Ended protected status for Sudanese immigrants, forcing them to go back to a country that's war-torn and in the middle of a genocide. Fired, then rehired, then fired 4 FBI agents who had previously worked on cases involving Trump. Pardoned a famous baseball player who had committed tax fraud. Granted Hungary an exemption on Russian oil sanctions. And finally fell asleep in the Oval Office during one of his press conferences. Now for our Trump court verdicts this week. A judge ruled
Hey, you know what's terrifying? When the Department of Homeland Security intentionally manipulates scripture to threaten people like this. The fact that the Department of Homeland Security, in an official post, is using scripture to threaten people is absolutely ludicrous and a clear example of Christian nationalism. What's more, it makes it sound like immigrants are the wicked ones and like Border Patrol is righteous, even though scripture repeatedly tells us that we are to welcome foreigners and even to treat them as citizens in our land. You know what?
Hello, I am Chinese President Xi Jinping. Hello, I am U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent. I declare trade war. Thank you. I will no longer be buying soybeans from America. What? Hello, I am Argentinian President Javier Milei. China, we would be happy to sell you soybeans. America, I would also like an economic bailout of $20 billion. Okie dokie, artichoke.
We have breaking news right now. Mass chaos in a key Justice Department office in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida as 2 prosecutors have resigned, according to MSNBC, after being asked to work on a large conspiracy case against Trump political opponents to include former President Barack Obama, former CIA Director John Brennan, and others. According to MSNBC, they had a division-wide meeting held by the U.S. Attorney today because everyone is on pins and needles, because prosecutors are feared of being asked by the U.S. Attorney to work on a case that Donald Trump has said should lead to the arrest of a large number of individuals, including former President Obama, former CIA Director John Brennan, and more. And the Justice Department has already approved at least 30 subpoenas, including for Brennan and other FBI officials. And here's the thing. There is now chaos within the office. 2 of their top prosecutors have resigned.
Hey, everybody. I am running out of words to describe how damaging Trump's pardons are. He just pardoned at least 77 people who tried to overthrow the results of the 2020 election.
You're not going to believe this shit. Here's your latest unhinged headlines. First up, 8 Senate Democrats voted with Republicans to reopen the government last night, ensuring a vote on ACA subsidies in December. Except, that's not what Mike Johnson heard.
No, because we did our job and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything.
Interpretation? Eat shit. So if you want to know who rolled over to give you absolutely nothing, here's their names. Next, yesterday at the Washington Commanders game, Big Beautiful Booze. You're supposed to say your... Never mind. No one can hear you over the deafening hatred. Anyways. Next, maybe all that booing had something to do with the fact that the Trump administration sent out this memo to all states on Saturday, threatening them not to feed hungry women and children. More anti-Jesus bullshit. How are Christian nationalists so dumb? Next, Dumpy just pardoned 75 alleged coup members who tried to overturn the 2020 presidential election, including his former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Next, the Rotten Mango makes a new promise after robbing you blind on tariffs. In a new True Social post, the Lion King promises, quote, a dividend of at least $2,000 a person for all the poors. Whatever happened to those $5,000 Doge checks? Hey, Dumpy? And finally, Tater Tits announces a new plan for 50-year mortgages. By meme. Ah, yes. Why rent when you can super rent and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars more in interest and pay for all the maintenance costs? The American scheme. Please don't fall for the bullshit. Stay informed and entertained, and follow for more unhinged.
Patriotism. There's a word thrown around a lot. It inspires passionate debate and is worn like a badge of honor, and with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. Love. For a word designed to unite, it can also be pretty divisive. You see, there's more to patriotism than flag sequin onesies and rodeos and quadruple cheeseburgers. Patriotism is love for a country, not just pride in it. But what really makes up this country of ours? What is it we love? It's more than just a huge rock full of animals like cougars and eagles, right? It's the people. Do me a favor. Close your eyes for a second. I want to try something out. Picture the average U.S. citizen. Think about it. How old are they? What's their hair like? How much can they bench? You got one? Okay. So chances are, the the person you're picturing right now looks a little different to the real average American. There are 319 million U.S. citizens. 51% are female. So first off, the average American is a woman. Cool, huh? Is that what you pictured? 54 million are Latino, 40 million senior citizens, 27 million are disabled, 18 million are Asian. That's more people in the U.S. than play football and baseball combined. 9 million are lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, more than the entire amount of people that live in the state of Virginia. Around 10 million are redhead, 5.1 million play ultimate frisbee, and 3.5 million are Muslim. Triple the number of people currently serving in the United States military. Almost half the country belongs to minority groups. People who are lesbian, African American, and bi, and transgender, and Native American, and proud of it. We know that labels don't devalue us, they help define us, keeping us dialed into our cultures and our beliefs and who we are as Americans. After all, what's more American than freedom to celebrate the things that make us, us? I mean, it's stitched into the stars and stripes of this country, from the Constitution to Gettysburg, to our motto, E pluribus unum, from many, one. It's even in our country's name, the United States. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, disability, sexuality, race, religion, and any other labels. Because the second any of us judge people based on those labels, we're not really being patriotic, are we? So let's try this one more time. Close your eyes. Picture the average Joe or Joan or Juan or Jean-Luc. The real people who make America, America. And this year, whenever you feel the urge to don those star-spangled shorts, set off fireworks the size of my biceps to show love for our country, remember that to love America is to love all Americans.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
What happens when political donations and presidential power collide? We pored over thousands of public records to find out. And our analysis revealed this. At least 30 individuals or companies who have collectively given more than $116 million to Donald Trump's causes have gone on to receive benefits or advantages from the White House or government departments and regulators. Sometimes the timing was remarkable. Donations came in, and within days, official investigations were dropped, pardons were issued, or regulations were rewritten. We looked at records from the Federal Election Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Department of Justice, and other federal agencies. We cross-referenced data on donations to Trump's inauguration fund and super PACs aligned to him against government actions. And we found that the network of donors who have benefited includes crypto billionaires, energy and tobacco companies, even a manufacturer of human tissue bandages.
So we're looking at itemized receipts at the Federal Election Commission, which document donations to political action committees and other political campaign committees. So here's a major donation, ultimately from a man called Kelsey Warren, who runs an energy company that benefited from a Trump policy change.
They are all united by one thing: money flowing into Trump-aligned groups.
So they're used for the people who really need them? It's meant for people. And you know what it does is it really puts the country at jeopardy. People that need it have to get it. I'm all for it. But people that are able-bodied can do a job. They leave their job because they figure they can pick this up. It's easier. That's not the purpose of it.
We have some huge news right now. One of America's closest allies, the United Kingdom, is stopping some intelligence sharing with the United States of America over concerns that the United Kingdom may be complicit in illegal actions and possible war crimes if it continues to share information and intelligence as the United States conducts strikes in the Southern Caribbean. We have some news right now. Italian-made pasta may soon disappear from the shelves of American grocery stores because of new tariffs imposed by Donald Trump.
Hey, how's your day going? Sorry about that harsh backlight. It's my shoulder angel hanging out with me today. So I have no basis for thinking this. I'm going to go out on a limb. I am suspicious that there is a population of America who are lifelong Republicans and who are also not happy with the way that the Republican establishment is running things right now, but you're quiet about it because you're stuck between feelings of loyalty or being ostracized if you break from your party, et cetera, and yet you just don't like what's happening right now. So Tuesday's coming up. We're going to vote on some stuff, and I just want to put a thought in your head to chew on for a couple days in advance of that. If you are a Republican, quote unquote, and you vote for some Democrats, that does not mean that you're no longer a Republican. Like, you can vote as an independent person because you like or don't like what's happening. And that doesn't mean you have to give up your entire identity about it. It just means that, maybe the identity that you've been claiming for so long has changed on you, and you don't like that. So you can do something about it and not have to burn down your entire internal persona.
We have some major news right now, and I need your help to spread the word. Donald Trump was just caught lying on his Truth Social, posting a website that is complete satire as if it was true. This is major, and if Biden did this, they'd be screaming media right now.
I'm not touching the car. Leave me alone. Look what they're doing. He's sneezing. Stop. That's fine. Back up. This is my wife. She's having a seizure. They're trying to rip the baby out of her hands. She's having a seizure. Back up. Pittsburgh, Massachusetts. This is what's going on this morning. Stop yelling.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Based on the company numbers as well, is Americans will lose 135 billion pounds by the midterms. But I don't measure it in pounds. I measure it in saved lives. Based on the company numbers as well, is Americans...
I am the mother of 2 children who are at this daycare. Every single one of the daycare workers is afraid. Imagine taking your child to a daycare where they are now at risk of their teachers leaving them in the class because they have been detained for being brown, for speaking Spanish.
At least an arm's length away from an officer.
Stay at least an arm's length away from an officer.
If they tell you to back up, film yourself doing so.
If they tell you to back up, film yourself doing so.
Film horizontally.
Film horizontally.
Narrate what you're seeing in as much detail as possible.
Narrate what you're seeing in as much detail as possible.
Focus your filming on the agent's actions.
Focus your filming on the agent's actions.
Do not share footage publicly.
Do not share footage publicly.
Do not share footage publicly without permission of the person being detained or their family.
Without permission of the person being detained or their family.
I have an idea. Tell me if you agree. The last time the 435 members of Congress conducted legislative business was September 19th of this year, 51 days ago. A member of Congress gets paid $477 a day, meaning that since the government shutdown started, they earned $10.6 million. Who thinks that this $10.6 million should be donated to American food pantries?
We have some major news right now. A Reagan-appointed federal judge has stepped down from the bench after 4 decades. Why? Because he wants to be able to speak out against Donald Trump.
One sound for the pushback against ICE and Trump in Chicago. Whistles are all over the city right now, and people are using them to alert one another when ICE agents are nearby. I'm a Chicago Tribune reporter, and I saw this myself when I was reporting on an ICE arrest spree in Humboldt Park. My colleague Rebecca Johnson just wrote about it. She found that whistles are being handed out everywhere from adult stores to bars and cafes. There's even events where whistle kits are put together with zines and know your rights information, and tons were handed out Sunday during the No Kings rally. She learned that there's a basic system for how to communicate with them. A short whistle means there's a confirmed sighting of an ICE agent, and a long whistle means that someone's actively being detained.
If I touch my phone to record you while you're pulling me over or giving me a ticket.
If you have an iPhone, go into the Shortcuts app, type in "I'm getting pulled over," and add that shortcut to your shortcuts immediately. What it does is when you say, "Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over," it will instantly dim your screen all the way down so you can't see anything on your screen. It will instantly lock your phone. It will instantly turn the volume all the way down and turn off any music, any apps or whatever that's running. It'll start recording. It'll send your location to whoever you want it to go to. And then once you're safely able to stop recording, it will also send that video to whoever you need it to go to. It has helped me numerous times. I've literally told anybody that will listen about it.
And my bad, I also suggest getting like a privacy screen protector, like, you know, that people can't really see it unless they like really directly looking at it.
And it seems like now more than ever, it's really important to have these sort of measures on your phone. You do not have to touch your phone. You literally just have to say, "Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over," and the rest will handle itself.
Speaking of people never getting hired in the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, we already talked about Pam Bondi. Who is this hack personal lawyer for Donald Trump who is announcing that if the DA in San Francisco or if Nancy Pelosi, who knows who else, actually arrest federal agents for committing crimes, that he's going to have them arrested? You skipped law school, bro. That's not how it works. The law actually applies to federal agents. The law applies to National Guard, ICE, military. You can't just shoot people down in the street for no reason and say it's okay. So let's be clear. That's illegal. You skipped law school. You're never getting hired here. The Supremacy Clause in no way says that you can commit whatever crimes you want as a federal official. And oh, trust me, you try it here, you F around here, you're going to find out.
Oh, Donnie and Meg are big mad about the election the other day. Want to know how I know? Because my Instagram account that hasn't ever had a violation got flagged yesterday, along with a bunch of other big left-leaning accounts for no fucking reason, saying unoriginal content and shit like that. So Donnie and Mag are mad because they got fucking swept. They calls up Zuck, says, "Hey Zuck, do something about this," and this is what fucking happens. It's a real free fucking country, right? But fuck them. They're not gonna silence anybody. Keep going, keep posting, keep talking. Fucking they flag it, post it on another one. Appreciate you guys.
I'm literally shaking right now. My boys and I started a food pantry in our front yard. I just went out to fix things. People have been using it all night. I just looked at my mailbox. Are you kidding me? There's no name. It just says, "May God prosper and bless your food pantry." We're really not letting people go hungry, man.
How to speak Trump. Well, Saturday. Guess I should mow the grass. Trump translation.
We're going to take care of the grass. It's that time of week. A lot of people take care of the grass on Saturdays. Some people do it other days. A lot of guys don't even take care of the grass. I do. I know all about the grass. I own a lot of grass. I have the greatest grass, and I know the best type. Some people are suggesting maybe we attack it militarily. We haven't discussed that fully. We have a lot of military technology that people don't know about that could eviscerate the grass. And I don't know if you heard about this in Springfield, Ohio. They're eating the grass. The people are eating the grass, which is disgusting, disgraceful. We don't do that here, so we're going to take care of the grass, and I'll tell you what, we're going to mow America's grass again.
If you still think Donald Trump is a good president, then I'm going to be honest with you. You are either completely uneducated, willfully ignorant, or a racist bigot, or you've got some serious mental issues going on. And this isn't just opinion anymore. This is documented reality. That man has done more damage to the working class than most people even realize. While he waves his flags and talks tough, he's been gutting your rights, your wages, and the protections behind closed doors.
Oh, prices are up. No. Prices are down under the Trump administration, and they're down substantially.
Make it make sense why I'm paying $500 a week for groceries and necessities.
Look at his price. $10.99. Look at the price I paid for this just a year ago.
So basically, ground beef is a luxury item now. So if y'all see me making more chicken and turkey recipes, that's probably the reason why.
Why did it cost me $1,000 last month to feed my 4 kids? At this point, I don't even eat. I just have enough food to feed my kids.
There's no American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally, and anything that you would hear or report that would be different than that is simply not true and false reporting. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
So an Alabama man is suing the federal government after he says he was detained not just once, but twice by ICE agents.
Those agents detained 4 U.S. citizens at that cemetery, and now they are telling their story.
That's when things went wrong for U.S. citizen and Army veteran George Redez Jr. George was held for 3 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles.
Today in Ontario, another ICE raid and another U.S. citizen taken into custody.
I'm right here.
For the longest time, the House
Do you
has
want
been
me to
out of
answer the
Senate.
question? If you ask the
Because
question,
you're
let
not
me answer.
actually answering the question. Let's be clear. The reason Alita Grajava is not here is because Mike Johnson wants to do 2 things. Number 1, cover up for pedophiles on the Epstein list. And number 2, put his members in a really rough position when it comes to voting and extending these ACA tax credits.
Really call your senator. I don't really care what your political persuasion is, but you should really call your senator, because I'll tell you, this is costing the airline millions of dollars. And just think of 30 airplanes with 1 engine running. It's going to take us at least 90 minutes to take off. So it's frustrating. But right now we're at a 4% reduction in flight capacity. Next week we go to 10. Last night I had a 6-hour delay in Houston, and the weather was perfect. It's because the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid.
Donald Trump has to be furious over this. His Truth Social platform has just rolled out artificial intelligence. And it's, well, honest. Are Trump's tariffs a tax on Americans? Yes. Is Donald Trump a convicted felon? Yes. Who won the 2020 election? Joe Biden. Have grocery prices gone down? No. How long do you think this is going to remain up?
Calling for no tax on tips.
Does this tax bill continue the payroll tax on people's tips?
Yes, it does.
No tax on overtime.
Overtime. The president said your overtime will be tax-free. Does this bill continue the payroll tax on overtime?
It does not exempt overtime from payroll tax.
And no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
The president said he's going to remove taxes on Social Security. Does this bill remove taxes on Social Security benefits?
Does not change Social.
So this is a tax decrease for the wealthiest Americans in our country.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. Lynn and I are so proud of Liz for standing up for the truth, doing what's right, honoring her oath to the Constitution.
Donald Trump has bankrupted the American farm and destroyed the American farmer. He has ruined generations of family farming and turned American farmers into welfare recipients. Listen to their own words.
For the first time in 20 years, China's bought 0 soybeans and 0 new crop corn out of this country.
There's no reason for it. This is absolute stupidity. This is a man-made crisis caused by Donald Trump.
Trump's trade war closed the Chinese market to American farmers. Billions have been lost this year that will never be recovered. Trump did this in 2018 and 2019. It was a disaster.
Everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year.
Do you remember when Trump had to give farmers $28 billion in direct government?
Nearly 80% of voters in what are called farming-dependent counties voted for President Trump in the last election.
I feel like a lot of American farmers, cattle people, a lot of people probably feel let down currently. Now, maybe there's a method to the madness. That's still to be seen.
Many are now taking their frustrations directly to Republican lawmakers at town halls across the country.
I'm about ready to lose my farm. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you.
We have some big news right now. A rift is emerging this evening between MAGA and Trump, as MAGA is not happy after Donald Trump, during a Laura Ingraham interview, said that America essentially doesn't have enough talented people for highly skilled jobs.
While Donald Trump says he is delivering an economic miracle, a new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows that household debt has reached a record high of $18.6 trillion. The average credit card balance is now more than $6,500, according to a separate report.
Holy crap. So this past year, we were paying, I thought already, an obscene amount of money, like $700 some dollars. And the plan is $1,259 a month.
We just got our benefits for next year. What I'm currently paying $240 every 2 weeks for is going up to $709 every 2 weeks. How can I possibly survive paying $1,500 just in medical coverage?
Hey, everybody.
I'm afraid things are going to get a little dark soon. There's some government programs ending and people are going to be struggling to find food, health insurance premiums going up, et cetera, et cetera. I was just thinking that this is the time where I expect to see Christians shine. Like, there should be an army of people who are out there looking out for the orphans, the widows, the dispossessed, the needy, the foreigners, like all of those people that the Bible lists off as the people that followers of God should be caring for. There's going to be plenty of opportunity. So I would really, really expect and hope to see the Christian community just rise up and kind of overcome or look past all of the political garbage that has, I think, seeped into the church. Not every local church, but I think in the corporate sense, the church in America has largely been overrun by politics that don't belong there.
But, Mr. President, with all due respect, you've been talking about fixing the health care insurance plan since 2015.
Because of the Democrats.
But since 2015, you've said you'd fix it.
I've been talking about it for a long time. We almost did it. We were one vote short. We would have had great health care.
Now, see, he's relying on you to not remember what he's talking about here, but we're not going to let that happen. So let's go back in time really quickly. When the Affordable Care Act was passed in 2010, about 50 million Americans had no health insurance. Costs were skyrocketing. Premiums had more than doubled in the decade leading up to Obama's presidency because we have a for-profit healthcare system that doesn't view healthcare as a public good, unlike every other high-income country in the entire world. And millions were locked out of coverage altogether if they had a pre-existing condition, things like cancer or asthma or pregnancy or even domestic violence injuries. Insurance companies could just say, nope, you're too high risk. Because of how broken broke in the system had become, Obama ran on healthcare and won. He passed the Affordable Care Act, and as a result, about 20 million Americans gained access to coverage. Insurance companies could no longer deny people with pre-existing conditions, and costs were reduced for millions of low to moderate income Americans through subsidies. Republicans did not like this. They immediately framed the ACA as a government takeover, and over the next several years voted to repeal or defund it more than 60 times. But with Obama still in office, none of those efforts actually succeeded. But then Trump took office in 2017, and the Republicans put forth their own healthcare plan. Remember Paul Ryan? And the plan was basically just repeal Obamacare, eliminate subsidies that help lower income families, push people with pre-existing conditions into high-risk pools where their premiums would skyrocket, and expand HSAs that primarily benefit higher income Americans. All told, the CBO estimated that plan would kick 23 million people off health insurance. But it famously failed by a single vote in the Senate when Senator John McCain, despite his differences with Obama, cast the deciding no vote. His reasoning was literally that Republicans had no replacement plan. It would just kick a bunch of people off healthcare coverage, and that's still true today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome back from your 8 weeks of taxpayer-funded vacation. It's good to see you, and I hope
I'm going to interrupt you.
Republicans
I'm going to interrupt you, please. I am sick and tired of hearing you all say we had an 8-week vacation.
That's exactly what happened.
I worked every day.
I hope that you all enjoyed yourselves while American families looked at their letters from their health insurance companies, terrified that their insurance premiums were going to double or triple while the House was out of session for 53 days. That is unacceptable, Madam Chair.
This is one of the most shameful episodes, in my view, in the modern history of the Congress. The decision that Speaker Johnson made to recess the House for 54 days, to send Republican members home on paid vacation for 8 weeks, is disgraceful. It is a debasement of our Constitution. It is unprecedented. And every Republican member, as they arrive this evening and tomorrow morning, ought to be asked the question why they endorsed this abdication of Congress's power for the last 8 weeks.
Oh, we're 8 Senate Dems. We've reached a bipartisan deal to reopen the government. Hello, we're the other 252 members of the Democratic caucus who didn't approve this. Did you negotiate ICE out of our cities? Nope. Did you lower the cost of living? Nope. But you prevented the ACA premiums from tripling for 24 million Americans, right? Nope. We punt that vote until December. But Dems don't have the votes, and Speaker Mike Johnson hasn't promised anything. So we gave MAGA exactly what they wanted, got nothing in return, and now we're completely screwed? Why would you do this? Oh, I'm Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. Hello, we're the thousands of Americans that will die if subsidies for the ACA are not renewed. Can the president please help save our lives? Absolutely not. Also, circumcision causes autism. What? Hello, I'm the creator of the comic Dilbert and Trump loyalist Scott Adams. I have made horribly racist statements online and also happen to have prostate cancer. Can the president help save my life? Absolutely, the president wants to help. You gotta be kidding me.
This is your daily reminder that if you make $60,000 a year, you spend about $36 a year supporting people's SNAP benefits and $700 out of that $60,000 a year on corporate subsidies. Poor people aren't the problem. Billionaires.
I can't wait to add my imaginary tariff check to my imaginary Doge check and buy all that imaginary $2 gas and cheap groceries. And I just know that great new healthcare plan is going to be here in 2 weeks because I'm a gullible MAGA shit for brains. I'm actually surprised these ignorant motherfuckers remember to breathe.
We have some horrible economic news right now in Donald Trump's economy. According to Goldman Sachs, they estimate October 50,000 American jobs were lost. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been expecting that October non-farm payrolls to show a loss of 60,000 jobs. Goldman Sachs puts the decline at 50,000 jobs. We have some major news right now. Donald Trump is now declaring Seth Meyers' late-night television show, quote, likely illegal because it is, quote, 100% anti-Trump.
We're 9 months into Trump's second term. Have you built up the
immunity?
callus over your heart? Do you have immunity yet? Do you have, or is it? Are you still a fresh shock every day? How are you handling the second time around?
I mean, there is alcohol. But I will say, Stephen, I try not to get numb to it because I think actually one of the things that set in a little bit, and it's understandable, there's so much chaos, there's so much disruption, there's so many appalling things.
Sure.
It begins to blend together into this dark, churning gray cloud that you can get that can become pretty abstract.
I think that's actually part of the strategy, which is just to swamp everybody's boat.
Absolutely. And I think as a journalist, it's our job to stay awake, to keep our front lights on, and...
To enter, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, you're now a member of the 119th Congress.
Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and the FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
black book?
Black book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
What is most concerning is not what this administration has done, but what the majority in this body has failed to do. Hold Trump accountable as a co-equal branch of government that we are.
You need to take your head out of Trump's and start doing your representation of us. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. He knows nothing about what he talks about. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good-paying job. You're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me.
MAGA fans are abandoning Donald Trump in droves after he told them that he doesn't want their support anymore if they still care about the Epstein files. In response to that statement on Truth Social this morning, thousands of people in the comments are going after him. This one says, "So prove it was a hoax instead of bashing your past supporters because this isn't helping your midterm chances." That one got 2.9 thousand likes. Or this
We have some serious news right now. A Harvard researcher was just 2 years away from potentially curing tuberculosis, curing a disease that kills more than 1 million people each year. But then the Trump administration recently pulled the funding for her research.
I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. In Donald Trump's mind, the military does not exist to serve the Constitution or the American people. Like everything else, he thinks the military exists to do his bidding. And he has said that if he's elected, he'll use the military to go after, quote, the enemy within, which he seems to define as anybody Who criticizes him? Trump's other big idea is to slap a tariff on everything from food to TVs. Now, almost every economist who has looked at this idea says that won't lower prices, that makes prices higher. Donald Trump's former chief of staff said that Trump told him he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. Now, in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like Hitler. But it gives you a window into how Donald Trump thinks. Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the...
We have some major news. The White House is in chaos this morning as the backlash over the Epstein files continues to grow.
To celebrate Grijalva's swearing in, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee gave the New York Times just a taste of hopefully what's to come, including emails from Epstein in which he alleged that Trump knew of his conduct with underage girls. Wow. What a shocking revelation. This is like that moment in The Sixth Sense when Bruce Willis appears on screen and you're like, oh, I get it. He's the guy on the poster.
Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
What she said is not a denial, is it? Yeah, Donald Trump spent hours in Jeffrey Epstein's house with the victim. What do you think they were doing? Playing Parcheesi? Discussing.
Hey, so did anyone else notice that since those bombshell emails came out showing that Trump knew that Epstein was an abuser and that he himself spent hours alone with a victim, the administration has given up denying that he's in the Epstein files? After months of saying he had no idea, he wasn't involved, he stopped being friends with Jeffrey Epstein as soon as Epstein was convicted, now that these emails are out, they're not saying they're fake, they're not saying it's fake news, they're not saying that the Democrats came up with it or that it's AI, they're saying that the Democrats cherry-picked those emails to suit their narrative. Let's just start there. Is there any context that would make those emails okay? That you knew that your buddy was a sex trafficker and that you were spending hours alone in the room with a minor girl? But even if we set aside their half-baked defense, my real question is, why isn't this the only thing the media is talking about? Why aren't we seeking accountability for the fact that the President of the United States lied publicly and blatantly for months? This should be getting covered like Watergate, but because everyone has become so accustomed to him lying, it's an afterthought, even when that lie is about the trafficking of minors.
You guys see what happened to ICE when they decided to roll up to New York City? I showed up to New York City to pick up the Canal Street vendors, but they weren't expecting all these New Yorkers to join in on the streets and start following them and chanting and calling them names and giving them the finger. They weren't expecting that because New York is different. You thought that it was going to be like Portland. You thought the New Yorkers are going to be wearing inflatable costumes and doing the cha-cha slide outside, but you were wrong. You were wrong because New York started pulling up in full force and they were coming out of everywhere. They were coming out of businesses. They were coming out of their jobs to form this mob around the ICE agents. And the ICE agents had to walk back to their little van and retreat back into the building because they were scared. Because they were scared. This ain't Portland, Papi. This ain't California. This is New York. And you're going to find out, okay? You're going to find out what it's like to be persecuted, okay? New Yorkers ain't going to put up with this. And every day that you're there, there's going to be more. There's going to be more New Yorkers, and they're going to come out, and they're going to yell shame, and they're going to give you the...
We have another bombshell email coming out of the Jeffrey Epstein estate files that have been released by House Oversight Democrats today. This is one that Donald Trump really didn't want the public to see, but here it is. On August 23, 2018, Jeffrey Epstein sent a Kathy Lumiere quote, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York business people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip." This is referring to their having a back and forth conversation about Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer and former lawyer, back in 2018. The steady drip of Epstein documents that we're seeing today is only getting worse for the President of the United States.
It's happening, but it's how it's happening that should grab your attention. More and more Republicans are asking themselves, do I really support a man who has sex with young teenage girls? Get away.
I have a major PSA this evening. Remember the survivors, remember the victims. Too much of today's coverage has been focused on Donald Trump, or Jeffrey Epstein, or Ghislaine Maxwell, and not enough has been talked about the victims.
What do you mean Epstein wrote in an email that Trump knew what he was doing the entire time and hung out at a house with one of his victims for hours on end? What do you mean that email has been in the possession of both the DOJ and a reporter and Congress this entire time and was only released this morning. What do you mean by that?
Voted for Donald Trump, you're either a bad person or not smart. I said that, I stand by it. But listen, we've all done things that were not smart a time or two. And now's the time to say you made a mistake. Because if you still support him after those Epstein emails, you're just a bad person. Because like, where's the line? It keeps getting moved, as we know. And I've just had this ongoing debate over the last 8 years, like internally and then also obviously with other people, where it's like, if you're a Trump supporter, I don't want to associate with you. Then sometimes I feel a little guilty and like waver a little and I'm like, okay, I need to understand indoctrination. At some point, people not holding you to this standard and saying that if you don't denounce this, you're a bad person. It's more infantilizing and insulting than being like, hey, that's bad. Racism, freedom of speech, bodily autonomy, those should have been the line too. But nonetheless, here we are. We're at kids. I don't care how they twist these Epstein files. Anybody on that list, anybody who knew about the list, anybody who conspired with people on the list, there should be no room for you in society. And any of you normie dick-riding sycophants who continue to do mental gymnastics to explain why you're still a Trump supporter, defending sex abuse and pedophilia, while your healthcare premiums skyrocket, you can go too.
Billie Eilish just posted this to her Instagram stories about Elon Musk. Pay attention to the end.
California Governor Gavin Newsom just announced that he's releasing files on Donald Trump that will ruin his political career.
There are more Epstein survivors in the U.S. than there are trans athletes. I'll repeat that slower for your brain. There are more Epstein survivors in the U.S. than there are trans athletes. Do not let this go.
We have some big news right now. Donald Trump is facing major backlash from MAGA base this morning on Truth Social after waking up and posting that the Jeffrey Epstein files are a hoax. We have some news right now. I'm here in Washington, D.C., and guess what's right behind me? The Epstein-Trump friendship statue. It's back, and it's back one day after we saw a massive dump of Epstein files showing a much closer relationship with Donald Trump than the public previously knew about. Let me show you. I mean, this is a massive statue. It's about, if I had to guess, 14 feet tall, much taller than I am. I'm a little short. Okay, not that short, but let me show you more.
Another shocking Epstein email just leaked. This one with former New York Times journalist Landon Thomas Jr. This email from Epstein about Trump says, he feels alone and is nuts. Evil beyond belief. Mad. And most thought I was speaking metaphorically. It's obvious he could crack. Stormy Daniels, lies after lies after lies. Drip, drip, drip.
They love to create drama. This whole Epstein Files thing, it's a little bit played out.
Played out? You know shit's bad when the sensationalist media is like, you guys don't want to hear about the international island sex scandal. Let's talk about budgetary cuts. Let's get nasty. Come on, guys, that's not going to work. If you want to downplay this story, you need a master, all right? Megyn Kelly, you're a master of spin. Show us what you got.
As for Epstein, he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever. It's sick.
How the hell was Megyn Kelly ever an attorney? Your Honor, my client only engaged in diet pedophilia.
Just listen to R. Kelly. Megyn Kelly. Same fucking difference, because I just listened to her say to her listeners that ex-trafficking girls is less of an issue if they've gone through puberty. And a direct quote from her was, there's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. So she kicks off this topic by naming a unverified, unnamed source, saying that J.E., in this person's view, the random person that's giving her this information, was not a PDF file. Because according to that person, he was into the barely legal type. You know, the 15-year-old girls. He goes on to say, I'm just giving you facts, that he wasn't into like 8-year-olds. That's how far MAGA has fallen.
Everyone's mad at Megyn Kelly because she's splitting hairs over pedicab versus heebie-jeebie. Give her a break, okay? You just don't understand MAGA years. It's like dog years, but for wealthy, tax-averse people. Okay, so let's try to understand the MAGA mind. So here's a graph. And because we're in MAGA world, let's start with men. Control group. Okay, so white guy in his 30s who says some racist stuff, maybe does blackface, maybe says some heinous things in a group chat. He's a kid. He doesn't know any better. Okay, so that is a child. 15-year-old girl, the question at hand, is basically an adult. Okay, she knows what she got into. She's basically grown up, all right? 15-year-old boy who's a mass shooter, that's a kid. Okay, just with some mental issues. Unless he's black, then he's a full adult no matter what. Using this logic, we can understand MAGA morals, okay? So if you're a drag queen reading to kids, you're a pedicab. Gross. But if you're a billionaire boinking underage girls, you're the president. Let's take another example. If you're an immigrant and you work hard to take care of your family, or you're a mom on Snap trying to feed your kids, you are actually a criminal, okay? But if you're a billionaire who funnels millions of taxpayer dollars into your personal bank account, you are, say it with me, the president. I hope that clears it up. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to discuss it further.
Hey, Megyn Kelly. I'm Eloise and I'm 14 years old. Megyn, people in my grade are turning 15 right now. Some of us still have baby faces. Some of us still have braces. Some of us still call our parents when we're scared at night. Some of us still look like middle schoolers because we basically are. And the fact that a grown woman needs a teenager to explain that is honestly terrifying. You said you were just giving facts, but here's the real fact. What you said wasn't factual. It was minimizing. It was making abuse sound like a technicality. And Megyn, here's the part you really need to hear. If a 14-year-old has to get on the internet and explain to a grown adult with national platform that children are children and there's no age where abuse suddenly becomes less bad, then the problem isn't confusion, it's corruption.
If you think a 15-year-old is fair game for a bunch of rich old men, you're part of the problem. Let me say that slower for anyone who still doesn't get it. 15 is a child, period, full stop. I spent over 30 years in law enforcement, and in every jurisdiction I served, we had a term for 15-year-olds, minors. I don't care if some washed-up relic from the cable news era / one-woman outrage factory says otherwise. I don't care if an entire news organization joins in on the gaslighting. 15-year-olds are not women. They are legally, biologically, and morally children. And if you're shaking your head no right now, you're a shitty excuse for a human being, and you need to stay the hell away from our kids. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear it.
The emails released this morning regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump are truly a bombshell, and in a lot of ways a smoking gun that any prosecutor would love to have. And people aren't talking about the biggest thing here. One of the emails from 2011, this is way before Donald Trump ever even announced his candidacy for president, show Epstein talking to Maxwell saying that essentially Trump spent hours with the victim at one of Epstein's houses. But that's not all. A later email from 2019 completely discredits what Donald Trump was saying publicly. Trump publicly was saying that he kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club because Epstein was stealing girls or employees from Trump. But that's not actually fully true. A new email from 2019 from Jeffrey Epstein to Michael Wolff shows that Trump knew, according to Jeffrey Epstein, what Ghislaine Maxwell was doing with the young girls. And that's likely why he kicked Epstein out of his club. When I tell you that this is a dream for any prosecutor concerning circumstantial evidence, now it doesn't prove that Donald Trump did anything wrong with the girls, but it does prove that he was much closer in connection with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell than we knew.
Trump just responded to the Epstein bombshell emails today. Do you think he sounds guilty? The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done in the shutdown and so many other subjects. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else. He's so freaking guilty.
Do you guys remember this video?
The victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. It is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries.
Well, new Epstein files have been released, and there is one email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to the former Prime Minister of Norway, Thorbjorn Jagland. I hope I said that right. Now, I'll show you this email in a minute, but basically, the email shows, in Epstein's own words, that he was working with high-ranking Russian officials and feeding them information about Donald Trump during Trump's first term in 2018. And this email that I'm about to read was written 1 month before Trump and Putin met in the 2018 summit. Here's the email. Epstein, I think you might suggest to Putin that Lavrov can get insight on talking to me. Vitaly Churkin used to, but he died. Meaning Epstein has a history of providing insight and information on Trump to high-ranking Russian officials. So Jagland responds, I'll meet Lavrov's assistant on Monday and will suggest, meaning obviously I'll pass along your message. And finally, Epstein responds with, Churkin was great. He understood Trump after our conversation. It's not complex. He must be seen to get something. It's that simple. Epstein is the most notorious sex trafficker in the world, and he is a man that weaponized secret recordings to blackmail the rich and powerful. So what exactly was he offering Russia about Donald Trump? That's the question. Come to DC on November 20th.
This is crazy. Major bombshell this morning with new Epstein emails being released, and they don't make Trump look very innocent. And stay till the end of this video because I'm going to show you an interview with one of the Epstein victims who basically accuses Trump outright.
You met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did, yes. I'm going to show you 3 emails. This first email is to Epstein from Ghislaine Maxwell, dated April 2011. It reads, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. So much for Trump saying he'd never been to Epstein's house and spending hours with the victim at Epstein's house. Yeah, it's pretty damaging. This next email is from Epstein to author and journalist Michael Wolff, who has hundreds of hours of recorded interviews with Epstein and also wrote the 2018 book on Trump called Fire and Fury. This email was sent in January 2019. Again, we have a victim's redacted name at Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. And this third email is to Epstein from author Michael Wolff and sent December 2015. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, again, assuming we're talking about Trump's presidency, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. And finally, I want to show you one more thing. It's something that I missed and I want to include in this video. This is an interview with Epstein victim Anuska DeGeorgiou. She was interviewed by the BBC on October 31st, less than 2 weeks ago. Listen to this.
You met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did, yes, and I met him on several occasions. Ghislaine Maxwell did introduce me to him, and she introduced me to him with a clear message of my being with him in the same way that she had trafficked me and brought me to Jeffrey Epstein.
And now that you've taken that all in, thoughts?
Koreans are top-tier trolls because not only did they gift Trump this gold crown, and it was so subtle that everyone fell for it, like even the news and late night shows were all like, oh my god, South Korea is sucking up to Trump.
South Korea, can I just talk to you over here real quick? Hey, South Korea, what the are you doing?
I'm not going to say the Koreans brown-nosed him, but they got so far up there, I'm pretty sure they snorted one of his tonsils because They gave Donald Trump the only thing he's missing at this point, a big golden crown.
Because if they had done just a modicum of research, they would have known that this is a replica of the crowns of the Shinna dynasty, a dynasty that ended because the king essentially was being controlled by their version of billionaires. Sound familiar? So the working class had an uprising and overthrew the king. But South Korea also just came out with this book, and it's titled The Dictionary of Forbidden Words Under the Trump Era. And apparently there's over 170 words in this book that they deemed forbidden under Trump's regime, like multicultural, diverse, DEI, equity, advocacy, equality, activism, social justice, inclusion, Gulf of Mexico, Latinx, ethnicity, Native American, indigenous, race and ethnicity, racism, BIPOC, black. And I find it hilarious that they group it by subject matter, essentially. And then there are whole sections where they explain why each word has been banned under Trump. Like, you can literally tell what it's about without even being able to read or speak Korean, just because of the English context. And the book ends with the inside back cover reading, "I'm not broken, I don't need to be fixed."
No, President Obama is not getting paid royalties for Obamacare, as President Trump posted on Truth Social earlier today. It's not true. There's no truth to it. It's insane. The claim, if you can call it that, originated on a website called the Dunning-Kruger Times. More on that in a second. That's part of the America's Last Line of Defense network, which is, by definition, describing itself as a network of parody, satire, and tomfoolery. Everything on this website is fiction, the website says. It's not true. But while we're on the subject of the Dunning-Kruger Times, I want to tell you about the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it starts in 1995 when some bank robbers outside Pittsburgh are picked up because they had robbed a bank with no mask, no disguise, no sunglasses, no mustaches. They were caught on closed circuit TV, and they were stunned that they were caught. Why were they stunned? Because they were under the belief that if they put lemon juice on their faces, they would be invisible. That's what they thought. A Cornell psychologist, a Cornell professor of psychology, Mr. Dunning, heard that and was stunned and wanted to find out more. And he did a study. And basically the study suggests that the less somebody knows about a subject, the more they think they are an expert on that subject. In other words, stupid people don't know how stupid they are because they're so stupid. That's what the Dunning-Kruger Times is.